Welcome to Still Moment Studios. Today I'm going to start on the second part of demonstrating how you could create clouds. If you click on the link, you can see the first video where I used a layering technique. Today I'm going to work on wet. So first of all, you're going to need your palette, your brush, but you're also going to need a little spray bottle to keep the paper wet. So as you can see, it's just a simple little bottle. It has a fine mist, which is what you're looking for. You don't want a big spray bottle that's going to have large droplets. We want a fine misted, even coating of water. So first of all, on the paper, I've mapped out where I'm going to have the clouds. Then once I have the color that I want, I'm going to come over to the paper, spritz it, get it nice, evenly wet, and then you go ahead and get started. And that's what the wet on wet is. Wet paper, wet paint coming together and spreading out. You need to prep your paint and have it ready to go so that my paper's not drying out in between, just trying to get more pigment. And also spritzing if my paper starts to dry out while I'm still working. The paint will lighten as it dries, so you'll see that I'm adding a little bit more drops of pigment here and there. So this is lamp black, very watered down, just a very soft coloring with just a touch of blue. You can control how far it spreads by taking a dry paintbrush, dry it off on a paper towel, and you can lift off the pigment as it spreads too far if you don't want it over there, if you want to preserve some of the white. So here you can see another spritz of water real quick, and then I continue working, and it doesn't, because it's such a fine mist, it doesn't really affect the pigment very much, especially since it's still very wet. So I'm not dry papering on one area and wet on another. I want this a uniform wet on wet effect. And then a little darker, and as that continues to dry, it'll lighten on me, so then I'll drop in more pigment. I want to lighten that again, so again a dry brush. Take my paper towel and dry off my brush, and I'll lift off. And then as it's close to being dry, not quite dry, dropping in a little bit of pure water. So it gives a watermark effect. And then let that dry. If we compare the layered method to the wet on wet, you can see there are both excellent options to creating simple watercolor clouds. And then we just finish up the mountains down below, as you can see from the original reference photo. If you're interested in the paint colors or brands that I use, you can check out the link down below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.